today we have with us Sahana Dasharathi, who is a nutritionist, and the session is going to be on fueling your body, understanding how to fuel your body, um, especially for dancers, but I think it's going to be a very beneficial discussion for everybody. So, a few words about Sahana before she joins us. Sahana is someone I have followed for quite a bit. She has her page, Dash of Nourishment. And I've been really intrigued by all that she's been sharing about how to fuel yourself better in general. And she comes with sports nutrition specialization from ISSA, and her expertise is in lifestyle management, weight management, and autoimmune disorder management. She's worked with various corporates and sports nutrition companies, including Nutrifymydiet, as part of which she was working with the athletes in the Indian hockey team. So I think she comes with a lot of experience. And in 2019, just about last year, she decided to start her own practice. And that's how Dash of Nourishment happened. So today she's going to be answering a lot of questions on nutrition and diet for dancers. So welcome, Sahana. Thank you so much
Thank you
for being
so
a
much.
part of
Thank
Sangati.
you, and thank you so much for that very well, very nicely worded introduction. And I'm really happy to know that you've been following Dash of Nourishment and you're pretty intrigued
I
about
have.
what I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it goes without saying that, for all of us, 20% of what we do is exercise and 80% is, what we eat. So I think
Absolutely.
it's so
Yeah.
important for, especially as dancers who are so driven by physical fitness, to
Yeah.
get an insight into what we should be eating, how we should be eating right, as opposed to just, working out and going on with
True.
our practice. So,
True.
which is why I
Yeah.
thought this session will be so beneficial for all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so clearly there's no use, working out like a beast if we're not really going to supplement the workout with the right kind of intake.
True.
So, what are your opening thoughts on what we as a generation are doing right and wrong when it comes to, fueling our body?
Yeah, so the right, so we'll focus on the positives first. Yeah, so the right thing that we're doing is that we are recognizing that nutrition is important. So we are, we might probably just Google stuff like what can I eat to improve my stamina, or weight loss tips, or like, what can I do to improve my hair, my skin, what can I eat? So as a generations, like thanks to the internet, so we have a lot of access to information. Okay, so I feel like a lot of us are, it's at the back of our head. We might not do it like on, like it wouldn't be a priority, if I can say that, but then we still kind of give, like, say 20% importance to nutrition. So even if you're eating, say, chips, you're like, oh my god, it's fried, okay, fine, I'll eat it anyway. But then the thought does come in, right? So there is a slight hiccup. There is a slight hiccup, but then you're like, never mind, I'll just eat it. Yeah. So as a generation, so there is, you do think twice, but then you just don't act on it. Okay, so when it comes to the things that we're doing wrong, is that we are influenced by everyone. So if you have a friend, if you have a family member, they've lost like a lot of weight, so you kind of go up to them and be like, hey, what did you do? How did you lose weight? What did you eat? And stuff like that,
and
right?
most of the answer now is keto diet.
Yeah. So keto, and then there's paleo, and there's so many fads that are out there, right? So we tend to go ask our friends, or we tend to go ask someone from the family, saying, hey, what did you do? And then you will end up doing the same thing to yourself, and then it might not really work out the same way it did to the other person, right? Or we, like I said earlier, we have so much access to the internet. We're influenced by someone who's lost weight and who's put up their weight loss journey and all of that, and you kind of try to replicate that again, and it doesn't work out for you, right? So as a generation, we are doing our bit to, like, to go a step ahead and then say, okay, I want to do something to better myself, but then they're not doing it in the right way, because every body is different. Like how each one of our fingerprints is so different from one another, even our bodies are wired completely differently. So what would work for me if I was a dancer, if I'm eating something to, like, finish an entire Margam set like without a sweat, and then if you do the same thing with the food, the kind of food I eat, it might not work out for you, because your body is like, it's going to be, it's because it's completely wired in a very different way.
Correct. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that kind of understanding of the fact that we are different, we are made up of different
Yeah.
entities, and
Yeah.
it's the same discussion we had last week as well when we were
Yeah.
talking about injury prevention,
Mm-hmm.
is that each one of us is so different, and I think we
Yeah.
have to keep that in mind in the food aspect as well,
Yes,
in
absolutely.
in terms of what we
Yeah.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that obviously means that we as dancers will certainly have different nutritional requirements as opposed to
Absolutely.
normal people,
Yes.
given the
Yes.
kind of workout we do, which is not
Yes.
always just 1 hour of workout. I mean, usually a regular gymmer or a jogger will probably have 1 hour of workout, but we
Yeah.
dancers
Yeah.
end up working out for almost like 3-4 hours a day, and
Yes,
sometimes
I
longer
know.
if we are part of groups and rehearsals and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what is the difference in nutritional requirement, and can you probably elaborate on that?
Cool. So I will go in three parts. One is for someone who is not working out, who doesn't have any physical activity.
Correct.
One for someone who goes to the gym, and then the next thing will
Hmm.
focus completely on dancers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone who's not working out and has no activity, so the amount of food that they need to eat needs to be like at a minimum. So let's say like 1,300 or 1,400 calorie
Hmm.
per day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So this is pretty much enough for you to like, get up, eat, go to work, come back, like with no activity. Okay.
Correct.
So if it's someone who is going to a gym, right, and then he or she is working out, say, for about an hour or so, okay, and then you might need like an extra dose of protein. So depending on your goal, for someone who's losing weight, then obviously your calorie goal will still be around 1,300 to
True.
1,400. So if someone is trying to gain weight or build muscle, then obviously the amount of protein will be a little more, the amount of good fat that comes in will be a little more. So their calories will vary in terms of the different nutrients, which is protein and
Right.
fat and carbs, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so it's different for someone who's going to the gym because that type of activity is different, right? So they could be lifting weights, then obviously then they're working on the strength aspect. Someone could just be running on the treadmill, then that's cardio. Okay, so if
Correct.
someone who is just completely doing a combination of both, then they're doing something that is also aerobic, that's also anaerobic. Okay, so when it comes to dancers, this is like completely a different ball game. First thing we need to understand that like you guys, like I mean dancers aren't athletes, but then the activity that you all do is almost close to that. Okay, but yeah,
Right.
I don't know, I think
Right.
they should coin a word just for dancers who like spend hours together dancing, which is
True.
a combination of strength and cardio, because if you're sitting in aramandi and like getting up doing those twirls and coming back, you
All of
need
this,
you need you
absolutely.
need you
Yeah.
need strength. Okay, so I don't think
True.
so you have to like understand that you guys are an athlete as well, and you need to fuel like that. Okay, so
Correct.
now in case if you have this example is given by a lot of people, so I'll just repeat it because I'm sure a lot of us haven't heard. So you have a Maruti car, you have let's say you have a Mercedes Benz. Okay, so now, okay, let's say you have a diesel car and then you have like a petrol car. Okay, so
Yeah.
you add
Yeah.
diesel. Okay, so diesel is still cheap, right, compared to petrol.
Yeah.
So when you have a
Correct.
really high-end car, the type of fuel you add into it is different. Like the type of like
Correct.
you might not probably give your car to a car wash service that is there like right at your area. You might
Right.
take it, you would probably take it to the best in the town, right? Like
Correct.
even if you
Correct.
you
Correct.
need servicing, you'd go to the showroom and do it.
True.
You
And
probably won't do
even in
it
the
to
petrol context, there's leaded petrol, unleaded
yeah,
petrol, and everything. So
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys, when you're a dancer, you have to consider yourself as that Benz car, like irrespective of
Correct.
what. So and you have to
Oh,
fuel
thank you for
yourself
that
like that.
analogy.
Yeah, you have to fuel yourself like that. Everything high end. Okay, so when I say
Correct.
high end, like it doesn't have to be fancy, which we will talk about, but you have
Yeah.
to fuel yourself like that. You need to consider your
Correct.
bodies as one of those high end cars and take
Yeah.
utmost care of it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
coming to how you guys need to eat. So when you're practicing for 3 hours or 4 hours together, then you need to account for the amount of energy that is spent either by eating before your practice or eating after your practice, or a combination of
Right.
both.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Okay.
also
Yeah.
eating nutritious food throughout the day.
Throughout the day. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Correct.
if your
Correct. Yeah.
rehearsal, because you if you're having 2 rehearsals a day and if it's in 2 different areas, Because now
Exactly,
say,
time zone.
right,
Yeah, I
then
mean it's in
you
the
need,
morning and then evening and
yeah,
stuff.
and then
Yeah, yeah.
you need to, you're traveling from one place to another, you're still spending energy, right?
Also,
If you're
yeah,
riding or if you're
yeah.
driving, then there's traffic, then there's pollution, there's everything.
And
So
given
you need,
Bangalore traffic,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's
In a
pretty
place like
hectic.
Bangalore or Mumbai or yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because even a few of my dancer friends, they travel from Malleshwaram to Jayanagar. Like they aren't that close also,
Hmm.
if you see geographically, and they are
Absolutely.
spending, yeah,
Yeah.
they're spending energy while they're
At least
driving
an
or
hour
riding.
one way. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
yeah,
True.
yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And then for people who are using public transport, then they have to wait at the bus stop. If they don't have a seat in the bus, then they have to stand. Then after all that exhaustion, they have to dance. So just think
Oh my
about
God. Yeah.
yourself as that high-end car, and then just fuel yourself
Right.
like that.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So yeah, so when you say of, the nutrients that we have to fuel ourselves with,
Hmm. Yeah.
see, for starters, I can only think of, common things, say the common nutritional aspects, which is proteins, carbs, fats, and say vitamins or something. But,
Okay.
can you just break down what really are the nutrients that a dancer's body needs? And then probably, sources. I mean, if you can equate that to sources where we can
Yeah.
find them in our diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're
Mm.
pretty much got all of it right. There was just another thing which was minerals.
I think we lost you for a bit there. Just your starting statement. We lost you.
Yeah. So yeah, I said you got everything right. Just an addition of minerals.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Minerals. Okay.
carbohydrate, protein,
Okay.
fat,
Yeah.
vitamins, and minerals. Yeah. So
Minerals.
so
Okay.
let's start
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
carbs. Okay. So carbs is
Mm.
your can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. I
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
So yeah. So carbs is your rice, chapati, oats, right? All of that is carbs. Ragi roti, akki roti, ragi mudde.
Wait, we lost you again. I think there was a bit of a glitch. You said carbs were, and then we lost you.
Yeah. So carbs are your rice, brown rice,
Mm-hmm.
red rice, all types of rice,
Right.
chapati,
Mm.
ragi,
Mm.
ragi roti, ragi mudde,
Mm.
and
Mm.
oats, bread,
Mm.
right? Your
Mm. Okay.
bajra, jawar, all of those. So
Right.
basically whole
Right.
grains, right? So they
Okay.
are your
Got it.
sources
Yeah.
of carbs. Okay. So
Carbs.
protein
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be milk, curd,
Mm.
eggs,
Mm.
right? All your
Mm.
dals, all your legumes,
Pulses.
and
Yeah.
then
Mm.
pulses and legumes, and then soy, tofu, and then obviously your
Tofu, paneer. Yeah.
non-vegetarian food.
Mm.
Yeah, and your non-vegetarian
Right.
food would be chicken, mutton, fish, and all of that. Okay,
Sure.
and then your
Right.
vitamins and
Right.
minerals essentially come from fruits and vegetables, right?
Mm.
So
Okay. Yeah.
your vitamin A you would get from spinach, carrot. Your vitamin
Carrot.
C you would get
Exactly.
from
Mm.
capsicums,
Citrus fruits.
pineapple, yeah,
Yes.
citrus fruits,
Mm.
and then you'd get
Mm.
your vitamin D from milk, from eggs, and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
minerals,
Mm.
like one important mineral for dancers is iron, because
Mm.
that boosts your
Iron. Okay.
immunity.
Mm.
Yeah, not
Right.
immunity, sorry,
Right.
stamina. Yeah.
Okay.
So all right. So that is something you guys need to focus on, because which a lot of us
Mm.
don't, like iron, because that really
Right.
helps in increasing the oxygen supply to throughout the body. So you obviously have more
True.
energy while you dance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of makes it sound like, they speak about this rainbow diet and having all
Yes.
these
Yes.
colors, right?
Yeah.
So I think the
Yeah.
way you described, I was just able to picture all these possible colors. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
It's
So they always say eat your
absolutely
colors, right?
right. Right. It's your colors is what they say. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I lost you in between, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So you were saying about eat your colors, eat all your rainbow colors and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you at
Okay.
least need to have a minimum of 2 colors on your plate. So it could be either
Okay.
from the poriyal or the palya or the sambar or the
Hmm.
vegetables that are there in the sambar, or a salad.
Okay. Nice. And
Yeah.
and and it's good if we have all 7 colors, if that's possible.
I mean, it's not realistically possible to include all 7 colors, but then a minimum of 2 to 3
Yeah.
colors will always work.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so you said iron is something that we need, but
Mhm.
I'm also wondering, when you say vegetables is where we get our minerals and all of that from, they
Mhm.
do have the carb element as well, right? So sometimes people are so fixated about not wanting to have some additional carbs through your rotis or rice or whatever, because they feel that there are sufficient carbs in the vegetables or in the other things. So is that a healthy practice at all?
No, I don't think that's a healthy practice at all. So the amount of carbs that you get from the vegetables are so little that they don't really, like, I wouldn't really consider that as a significant contribution to carbs, right? And only roots and tubers have a little higher carb amount than the other vegetables. So when I say roots and tubers, it would be all your sweet potato, and all this karangu sort of vegetables, right? So they are, so they are slightly rich in carbs. So I mean, they're also a great source of carbohydrate. You could definitely eat like potato curry and go to your dance class, because you're going to get carbs from the potato.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to expend that quite immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And but I did see one of your posts where you said, if you're having potato and you don't want to feel guilty about having potato, mix it with, equal quantity of another vegetable.
Yes.
That you don't feel like, it's because a lot of us are so guilt driven by what we eat. A lot of us, me included. So I think it's about, all right, okay. And so the next thing that I wanted to ask you is about, certain, I thought I lost you for a bit. Okay, you're okay now? Okay, I can see that thing going around. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can. Yeah, now I can. Okay. I thought there was some.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know why this is happening. Okay. Okay, I think you're good. I can see you now. Yeah, it kept freezing a bit. But yeah, okay, all right. So, so there have been a lot of these fad diets that are coming and going and all of that. So, and as you said, it does vary with, from body to body, and there's no real, one size fits all approach. But if you could just, help classify the type of diets that are there. So at least, for people who want to later look into it or read up or research or probably even consult with you, then they'd sort of at least have a base framework as to what are the diets that they can go on if, And by diet, I think there's a wrong connotation with the word diet. People tend to think that it means, cutting down on calories or not eating. But diet means, it's a certain proportion of what you eat. So so if you could just elaborate on that as well.
Yeah. So what I generally tell my clients is like, what is the first 3 letters of diet? And they're like, die. And I'm like, so we won't do a diet. We'll do a nutrition plan. So it'll be a holistic approach, and it won't really be something where you're starving or you're like, you're not putting yourself through something really hectic. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to focus on a couple of strategies that I use that even with my clients that everyone will be benefited. Okay. So the first thing would be the traditional eating your balanced meal. Okay. So this is like this is like eating a whole fist. Okay. So your carbs, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals. So if you have all these 5 elements in your plate, you're eating a fist. Okay. So this way, like, I just make sure, like, every time you eat something, so there's some sort of rice, there's some sort of sambar, dal or something, and then you're adding like ghee onto your sambar or dal, or you're using ghee for tadka or oil, and then you're eating your vitamins and minerals. So if your plate has all these 5 elements, then you're eating a fistful. So the fist approach is something that I do to regularize the eating pattern of anyone, for that matter, because a lot of us just tend to eat just like either rice and sambar or rice and rasam or just vegetable bath or just puliogre or just lemon rice. So when you eat puliogre, lemon rice and all of that, you don't really have vitamins and minerals coming in the form of vegetables, right? So and
I'm also guilty sometimes. I just think the peanuts in the puliogre or the lemon rice is enough protein. I just tell myself that, but no, it's not. I know it's not.
Yeah. So when you're eating stuff like puliogre and lemon rice, there's no protein and there's no vitamins and minerals as well. So it's just fully like carb oriented, but then it's yummy. That's why we all eat it. But then, like maybe after this live, you all should be like more mindful about including like a salad or including a cup of curd and some sort of vegetables along with it.
Basically ensure that fist is there on your
fist is there. Okay. And then the second thing that I've recently started experimenting a lot with is intermittent fasting. So a lot of us have been talking about intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting, the definition is to have a 12-hour gap between your dinner and your next meal. So if you've had your dinner by 8 p.m., then ideally your first meal should be 8 a.m. in the morning, the next day. Right. So when you have that when you have the 12 hours gap, so your body digestion regularizes, your blood glucose level in your body kind of is more stable compared to us eating at random things in the night when we're watching Netflix and stuff, right? So then when you eat something and there's a sudden insulin spike and then we come back again. So when you don't eat anything for 12 hours, the blood glucose level is a lot more like stable.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's something that we all can even do to regularize our digestion, you know. So instead of like constantly just stuffing our bodies with food, we should like give it a break, because it's constantly digesting, and like you've just had lunch and then 1 hour later you're having something else, and then again you're having something else, right? So give your digestive system a break. Give your digestive system a break, really. So, you know, because it needs to, like, in case if it's like, if you're playing a tape recorder continuously, like without any stop, it is going to burn out at some point, right? So when we overeat and eat a lot of unhealthy food, your digestive system will give up at some point, and that's the reason you already have symptoms like bloating and gas, constipation, you know, acidity and stuff like that. So intermittent fasting is something that I really like these days.
But just tell me again, when you say intermittent fasting is a 12-hour window, I have also, you know, I've heard that sometimes it has to be a 16-hour fasting window and then an 8-hour eating window. So is it variable, or is it?
It is variable. It depends totally depends on you. If you're someone who wakes up in the morning and works out, then you obviously need to eat something immediately after. So if you're still thinking intermittent fasting, I need to maintain 16 hours fast, then like you can do it for 2 days because you're driven, and then the third day your body will tell you that it's not happening.
Will not be able. That's
true. I think
and also some people say that I mean, just about the intermittent fasting, the duration itself, some people say breakfast is important and you have your dinner early, and some people say the other way around, have your breakfast late and then continue thereafter. So is there like a best practice for that, or is it you know,
if you're doing like a dinner early, and you know, if you're doing like a late dinner, early lunch sort of intermittent fasting, then what you can do is you can break your fast with a bowl of fruits, which will be your breakfast, right? So instead of eating like a heavy oatmeal or idli, dosa, upma, so you'll just be eating fruits. So the amount of calories that go in is a lot lesser.
Right. Yeah.
So intermittent fasting is not just for weight loss. You can follow it for a lot of other benefits as well. Like I said, digestion, and like you can also regularize your meal timings. You know, if you're someone who wakes up really late and has breakfast at, say you wake up at 12, you have breakfast at 12, and then you have lunch at 4 p.m. and then you have dinner at 11 in the night, right? So if you're someone who's doing that, and I mean, by the way your face reacted, I know like you've done it, or you know someone who does it. If they're struggling,
I know someone. I would never do that, but I would do that.
You know, so you like intermittent fasting is an easy way for them to, like, you know, just drink water and try and sustain that hunger for another 1 hour, and then have lunch directly, like by 1. So you can regularize your meal timings as well.
Meal timing.
So the traditional method, intermittent fasting. And the second thing is, in case if you're someone who's wanting to lose weight, I would say like a low carb meal for one of the meals. So it could be breakfast, lunch, and then your dinner could be low carb. So when I say low carb, it could be a bowl of sundal and like a bowl of salad. Or it could be your
a bowl of sundal. When you say sundal, for those who don't know Tamil, it's sprouts.
It's boiled. It's
salad.
Boiled chana.
Boiled
sprouts.
Yeah.
So it's any boiled
chana or peas or anything.
Like chana, peas, kabli chana, rajma, lobia, black chana, any of those.
Any of those.
Any of those.
Lentils.
No, it's legumes.
Legumes.
Okay. So you could do that, and it's pretty filling. Or you can use a portion of any meat. So it could be grilled chicken or grilled fish, along with like stir-fried vegetables on the side, or some sort of salad on the side, right? So that could be like, if you're too bored of eating sundal, then that could be your option. And or you know, just like sorting paneer or tofu again with vegetables on the side. But you can eat like a big quantity because that's your only meal. So when you don't have carbs, so your body automatically taps into the fat reserves that are there in your body to produce energy.
Right.
So,
and this is the principle of the keto thing I'm
intermittent fasting. Yeah,
right?
Intermittent fasting and keto as well. Yes. Yeah.
Keto,
So you're not exactly like on a fully keto, but then like just a strategy used from that.
Correct. So that the body starts consuming the
fat that is there to produce energy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So these are the three things that I believe in has worked, tried and tested. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. Another thing I wanted to ask you is, I mean, we dancers are constantly in three zones, right? It's either our we're working out. We're, of course, a lot of us have workout to supplement our practice. So aside from the dance part, we have our workouts spread over the week. So there are workouts, and then there are our practices or rehearsals, and then there are performances. So these are the three main arenas that we operate on. And which obviously means there's a pre-workout, post-workout, pre-performance, post-performance, and say a pre-rehearsal and post-rehearsal. So what are, again, what should we do when we're talking about our nutritional needs pre and post these three scenarios?
Okay, cool. So first we'll begin with the workout. Okay, so if you're doing like an additional, strength and conditioning or any sort of fitness, yoga or anything to like increase the strength in your body. So even when you're doing that, you are spending energy. There is a significant amount of calories that are burnt even then. So eating a snack like 45 minutes or half an hour before your session starts is really, really, really important. Right. And this is one of the principles of sports nutrition as well.
Okay.
To eat before you train, because then that's when you'll have like enough energy to do the activity better. If you walk into a class hungry, then you're cranky, then you're not focused, you're not listening to your guru, you're still thinking about the pani puri or bel puri you can eat after class and stuff like that, right? So things like that happen. So never go hungry into any class or any session. Always eat something. Right. So when we talk about activities that last for an hour, right? If it could be like a yoga class or a strength and conditioning class, like eating a simple fruit would definitely help. A banana, orange, apple, guava, like a bowl of pomegranate, anything like any fruit, because fruit has carbs in it. So what you need before your session to provide energy is carbs. I'm sure we studied in school that carbohydrates are energy giving food. Proteins are body building food and stuff like that, right? So you just need to remember that. So you basically eat any sort of carbs like half an hour or 45 minutes before your session. Okay. And then post your session, so the ideal post-workout meal is any sort of protein, right? So protein, so protein, even if you're a vegetarian, you can drink a glass of buttermilk, drink a glass of milk. Right, all these have protein, so they will. But it's also important to eat the correct type of food. So if you're doing a strength and conditioning activity to improve your strength, and if you're not eating according to that, then it might not really reflect on your body. Okay, so eating any sort of protein really helps. So doing a milkshake or doing a fruit smoothie, or eating eggs, or eating, in case if someone has access to a protein supplement, then protein supplement. So so having some sort of protein will definitely help in increasing your strength by building your muscle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next
pre and post workout.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then the next scenario is before performance or before rehearsal. That's what you said?
Before and after rehearsal.
Yeah, before and after rehearsal. Yeah. So in case,
and considering rehearsals are things that run into, as I said, 4 hours, 5 hours. No tab.
So in case
how long rehearsals go on.
Correct. So if anyone's putting up a production and like 3 hours of, if you're dancing like 3 hours of nritta or 3 or like it could be a small bit of abhinaya or something, you guys, even if you're doing stuff with your face, you need energy, right? Like we just don't understand that. Okay, so
understand that absolutely.
Even if you just have to like turn around and raise your eyebrow, you need energy, and if you don't have it, you might not really able to, you can't do it. So when you're dancing for more than 3 hours, then you have to eat like part by part. Okay, so one, obviously you'll eat like a good solid breakfast. If it's like, it could be your idli, dosa, upma, oatmeal, anything, like an hour before your session starts, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then and then definitely keep drinking water, keep drinking lime juice or some sort of juice that also has that hydrates you, because you're also sweating a lot.
Hydrates you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So even like, lime juice with a little bit of jaggery and salt will also help. Like tender coconut water with a dash of salt in it will also help. So tender coconut water also has carbs in it.
Okay.
So that will also fuel
Right.
your rehearsal automatically.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after, so whatever breakfast you've had or whatever meal you've had 1 hour before your rehearsal, it is pretty much done after 2 hours of practice. So you guys need to eat again. Okay. So carry a snack.
Snack. Yeah. Yeah.
Carry a snack, like simple things like peanut butter sandwich or vegetable sandwich, or carrying like an energy bar, which you get a lot these days, right? Like a multigrain energy bar, or if it's time
Or
for
even possibly
lunch,
just nuts or something, no?
yeah,
Just a
even
bunch of
nuts, yeah,
nuts or
like
something.
nuts and
Yeah.
dry fruits, yeah. So when I say nuts, it's just your almonds, cashews, pistachios, walnuts. When I say dry fruits, it's your dates, figs, prunes,
Raisins
raisins,
and
and all of that. So you need to have a
yeah.
combination of both
Of
together,
both. Okay. All right.
of
Yeah.
both. Okay. And also after a point, like your body will start burning fat for energy, because you've burnt out all the glucose that's there, right? So you also need to eat fat to burn fat. So you need to have some sort of snack. Just put in a fruit also in your bag, it's fine. So it could be a fruit that need not be peeled or anything. It could be apple, it could be guava. So you can just like bite onto it, or banana also. You just need to bite onto it. So it's very simple. You just need to be a little more mindful to do these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. And then again, the post would be a combination of protein and carbs, because you dance for almost 4 hours plus, right? Four hours. So you obviously need to replenish your body with carbs, right?
Okay.
And protein, obviously,
And not
because you
just protein. Yeah.
not just protein. So then like eating a proper meal would definitely help, like rice, dal, sabzi, or rice, sambar, some like any sabzi or anything would work. Like, but just make sure it has all 5 elements. You need to eat
All
a
5.
fistful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Post the
yeah.
rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to eat well so that you will be energized enough to go to your next rehearsal, which is another 4 hours long or something.
Away.
So
Yeah.
So your pre-workout meal will be the lunch or the whatever meal that you are eating, and that would also be your post, which will also be your pre. So it is very crucial. So you need to make sure to make it like extremely nutritious.
Right.
Yeah. So when it comes to performance, so at most important that I tell Sushmita also, and then I'm telling all of you also, is hydrate.
Right.
Like if you know your show is today, like you wake up in the morning and just drink a lot of water. Like it could just help. It could help with basic things like makeup sitting really nice on your face, because your like skin, because your skin is a lot hydrated. Yeah,
Hydrated.
by adding electrolytes, like like by drinking electrolytes like tender coconut water with salt will also increase the electrolytes that are there in your body, because you would have traveled if it's not a Bangalore show, or if it's not a show in UK, because you need to travel, then obviously your skin has been a little exhausted by that as well. So from the morning, start drinking water, like any sort of electrolyte supplement. Like you get these effervescence tablets that you just put, which is like fully
right.
so stuff like that. So in India you do have this brand called Fastener, so which is called Reload. So you just add like a tablet in a 250 ml water and start drinking. So if in case you're performing,
the name of the tablet is Reload. Is that what
Reload? Yeah, it's called Fasten Up Reload. So if you're performing in a place that's humid, then like our Bangalore bodies cannot handle the heat out there, so
in
it's
Chennai
all,
or in Bangalore or wherever else.
So it's very important to like get your electrolytes up. So start hydrating since morning, so that you'll also be well hydrated, so you won't really like freak out and have like a an entire
full
water
bottle just before
and then you want to pee after your first pees, and then you're just thinking
or
about
just
that
after you're ready with all the costume and everything.
So instead hydrate the whole day.
Whole
Yeah,
day makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have
Yeah.
an evening performance, then obviously
Mm.
like a fistful lunch is a must. Okay,
Mm.
so even
Mm.
even if you're living in a hotel, even if like
Mm.
you don't want to eat, a lot of people don't. A lot of them don't want to eat because they feel heavy,
Mm.
right? Just
Mm.
before a performance. So what you need to do is
Mm.
eat like 2 hours before and eat like a small snack before your performance. You know,
Correct. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so eating like a good lunch or eating like a good
Mm.
breakfast if your show's in the morning,
Right.
if your show's in the evening, eating a good lunch and then eating a small snack
Yeah.
just like half an hour before
Just
your
before. Yeah.
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 And then and keeping foods that will definitely pick your energy up at
Mm.
behind the stage is very important. So stuff like
Mm.
dates, raisins, you know, like
Mm.
energy bars. So these things will give
Mm.
you like immediate energy. So if like the minute you finish your first piece, go take a few sips of water after your heart rates come down a little bit. Just pop
Yeah.
something in your mouth. You know, something that can
Mm.
be easily digested. So I'd
Right.
suggest
Yeah.
raisins because they're easy to chew. Because if you like start biting onto a energy bar, then I think by the time it will be on stage, you'll still be chewing. So I
You'll
don't
still be
think,
chewing.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah. You
stuff
can just
like
like, yeah, put raisins in
yeah,
and
like
rush
black
into the stage.
grapes
Yeah.
or raisins, you know, like a
Mm.
handful. And
Mm.
at that point,
Mm.
quantity doesn't matter because you need to kill it on the stage. So it doesn't matter. So
Right.
how much ever you want, so
Right.
just like quickly. And even
Yeah.
using the electrolyte supplement there will really help. Or, you know, even
Are
a
you saying
little
in
bit of
place of water, you can even have like an electrolyte to
yeah,
douse? Would
even a
that
fruit juice
work
will work
also?
really well for you all, you know,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
watermelon juice or pineapple because it's fruit at the
Hmm.
end of the day and it's in
Yeah.
the most simplest form. Having few sips of it, you'll just feel
Yeah.
like rejuvenated over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So you can do stuff like that. And then again
Yeah.
the post is again like a portion of protein and carbs,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you
you
were
need
mentioning, that if people are in hotels and they're
mm,
not able to get their fistful,
mm,
what is the best thing to do then? Because obviously, and say assume you're traveling alone, so you can't even like have
yeah, yeah,
order multiple things and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then what do people do then?
So I think, you know, ordering like a one pot meal would make more sense instead of ordering like rice
Yeah.
and dal separately, ordering khichdi or ordering curd rice,
Right.
you know,
Right.
or
Yeah.
and in case if you don't have access to like ghee and all of that, don't worry because they already add a lot of oil in your food when they make it in the hotel.
Right.
So don't worry about
True.
that. And yeah, so in
Yeah.
case if you're, but then do carry your you know your nuts box
Nuts
and that
and
extra
raisins and
fruit
stuff.
and all
Yeah.
of that, you know.
Right.
And it's also not
Yeah.
necessary that you guys need to carry it from home. I'm sure like every place that you go will have like a fruit shop
We'll have
or
something to buy.
something. So
Yeah. And
you just
nowadays,
have to
you get those bites, those carry-on sort of
yeah,
assortment of
yeah,
nuts and stuff,
yeah,
right? Nuts and
yeah,
fruits. So you
yeah,
have that,
yeah,
just these boxes of that. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's quite easy to get hold of that. Yeah.
So yeah, so,
And then my
so
next question to you was, oh, sorry, you wanted to complete something. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Sorry.
I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now it was so well laid out for us about the pre
Mm,
and post for all these things, and I hope
mm,
people have taken note. I will be doing
yeah,
it after this.
yeah.
And yeah, so my next question was actually about hydration because we
Mm,
are absolutely sweat prone. One,
yeah.
and of course, given the kind of makeup we wear, plus the lights and everything,
Mm,
we sweat out so easily. So you
yeah.
did mention about sufficiently hydrating.
Yeah.
Is so that's what. So obviously, hydrating with just water isn't enough. So we will need these other sort of replenishments.
Yeah.
And just to recap, as you said, probably tender coconut water with a little bit of salt,
Yeah.
or these tablets. What is it called?
It's fast enough reload.
Okay, reload.
Yeah.
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 And then probably even electrol or something. So is
Yeah.
that all
Yeah.
we need to do to, sort of replenish all that we lose by sweating as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So a
Hmm.
note about electrol. So you're talking
Hmm.
about the ORS, right? ORS packet.
Yes, yes. ORS.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that you can use it no problem at all. But then the quantity. Okay. So you need to use only one
Okay.
fourth of packet in 500 ml. Sorry, 1 liter.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
because
Okay.
electrol and ORS is made for someone who's dehydrated, means who's having vomiting and diarrhea,
Vomiting,
who's
loose motions and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
using a lot of water and a lot of electrolytes. So the packet is
Right.
designed for that. Okay,
For
but then
that.
if
Okay.
you yeah, so if you end up having the same quantity, but then when you don't have
Yeah.
either vomiting or loose motions, then there's a lot of electrolytes in you, so it could
Right.
lead to cramping, like one of your muscle
Ah,
might just get caught
okay.
and you're like doing like you're
Oh my
dancing
God.
and
Okay.
you have a catch on your calf or something like that.
And that's because of excessive electrolytes in your body,
Yes,
which could be
yes.
because of, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So just use 1/4 of the packet,
The
then
packet
close
for
it,
five
and then
for
the
a
next
liter.
performance use the remaining. So yeah. So just
Okay, that's a
so
good point. I'm
part.
sure we wouldn't have
Yeah,
known that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I noticed this happening with a lot of marathon runners. So they use
Okay,
the ORS and then they use the entire
okay,
ORS, and then in that
okay.
12th kilometer they start cramping, like they can't move. So the minute we got them off the ORS like and introduced like fast enough reload or just like tender coconut water and
Yeah,
other things, like
yeah.
like there were no signs of cramping at all.
Oh God. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That's a good point for us. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. So that's about hydration. I think you've
yeah,
fairly elaborated that in the previous bit as
yeah,
well. I just have
yeah.
some very quick questions, and then we can open it out for the audience. We have about
Mm.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so there are these instant energy foods that we dancers often take.
Mm,
As you said,
mm,
in an energy bar,
mm.
there are these, like what are they called? Right Bite, I think that's what it's called in India.
Yeah,
These
yeah, right,
protein
but
bars,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
promise instant energy. And of
yeah.
course, there's banana, and a lot of people take Red Bull and stuff as well.
Mm,
So,
mm.
what's healthy, what's not, what's a good pre workout instant energy food item to have?
Yeah, so if you're having, so everything that you mentioned is completely okay to do, and these
Mm.
and all of these can be like your half an hour before your performance or half an hour before your session
Okay.
starts
Mm.
kind of
Mm.
snacks.
Yeah.
So in terms of Red Bull, my only concern would be that it has a lot of sugar in it, but then if you're having it before your
Mm.
performance, you're obviously going to burn it, so it's okay. But
Mm.
then if it's like an everyday practice or you want to have Red Bull
Oh
before you
yeah.
go because it
Yeah.
gives you that kick or if it gives you that rush, then I wouldn't really suggest Red Bull on
Not
a
a good
daily basis.
idea.
So if you're just doing it on performance days to get that load of caffeine, to get that load of sugar in,
Mm.
then it's
Mm.
fine. But
Mm.
it can't be a practice. You can't be dependent on it. You need to be
On it.
dependent on your skill and then your stamina and not on
Absolutely.
Red Bull. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it
So
helps
that's
someone, then it's fine. But
mm.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend that like as a practice for people who
To do
want
it
to
on
do
a
it
regular basis.
regular
Yeah.
basis. Yeah.
So that's like a instant energy thing. So
Yeah.
what are the kind of foods that we should be eating if we're looking at long-term energy development,
Yeah. So
long-term stamina development? Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So coming to that, so when I say carbs, so carbohydrates give you energy, right? So there are two types
Mm.
of
Mm.
carbs. So one is your
Mm.
simple carbs and one is your complex carbs. So when I say
Right.
simple carbs, it's your sugar, fruit, white
Mm.
bread, white rice, all of that.
Mm. Mm.
So when I
Mm.
say complex, it's when it has fiber along with it. So your brown rice, atta, oats, brown bread, wheat bread, right? All your
Mm.
millets. So basically whole grains that have a layer
Mm.
of husk on it. They're all your
Right.
complex carbs. So the reason
Okay.
why they're called complex carb is because one of their properties is to release energy in a very sustainable fashion.
Mm. Mm.
So when you compare white rice or like
Mm.
white bread or like fruits, like the minute you eat banana, you're like, yeah, I'm good to go. So, but when you
Right.
eat like when you eat like a bowl of oats or something, it'll still take you some time to like
Sometimes.
get yourself
Yeah.
going. So
Right.
all your whole grains are good sources of having sustained energy.
Right. Okay. Okay. Whole grains is what
Yeah,
to
yeah,
think about. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that also varies from person to person because, say for instance, for me, rice would never work. If I have to have rice, say 3 hours before a performance, I probably just sleep during the performance. I think you just
Yeah,
have to try and test what works
try and test what works
for
for
us
you.
in
Yeah, yeah,
terms of complex carbs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll just have one last question and then we'll open it
Mm-hmm.
out for people.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about fueling ourselves with the right nutrients, and is that does that have to be an expensive affair? Because there is all this talk about these fancy foods like quinoa and edamame and a lot of berries and everything, which are
Yeah,
generally expensive. So
yeah.
does fueling ourselves the right way have to be expensive
I
or
I
not?
don't think so at all. I mean, the stuff that I
Mm.
mentioned right now, did it seem fancy
Yeah.
or
No.
did it seem like
No.
exotic and stuff like that? So it's pretty much
Not
what we
really.
have.
Yeah.
I think the only expensive things would be nuts and dry fruits because
Right.
those are the only things that are
Yeah.
slightly expensive compared to your other things. Otherwise,
Correct.
vegetables and fruits and whole grains is something that we eat on a daily basis that is
Right.
easily available, like, even chana and dal and all of that. All these things we eat on a
Right.
regular basis. So I don't
Right.
think it's an expensive affair at all. This again, this I goes we can kind of relate it to the first question that you asked me, saying, you know, what are we doing wrong? So this could be one of the things that we are doing wrong, thinking that it needs to be fancy. You need Parmesan cheese and you need plating and all of that. So yes, it's not expensive at all. So I mean, in case if anyone watching this live needs any help in terms of easy socio-economically low kind of options, then yeah, please DM me. I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Please consult with Sahana. So I'll just, we have about 10 minutes. I'll quickly open out questions. Maybe we can take a few of them. I'm switching on commenting. And then we can, but while they, put in the questions, I have to really say it was so informative. All that, capsuled for us in the last 50 minutes. I think it was extremely informative. We kind of, at least I've learned all the things that I do wrong. And
what were those though? What were those?
So one is, I sometime back when I was in Bangalore, I would not eat anything before dancing. I would start dancing in the morning. I wouldn't eat a thing. And then I would eat only after dancing, which would be after 4. So I would literally go for like 4 hours of practice with just water and a chai. Of course, I don't start my day without chai, but that's all I would. I used to do that. I don't do that now here because I do have some more time. But yes, I would do that. And then I would never do the fist thing. I would end up having, I would say lemon rice or the puliogare, and then the peanuts in it is protein. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. So sadly, my Instagram screen time is getting over in 5 minutes. My app might just shut off. So like, I think I'll be on for 5 minutes, and then if you have any questions,
you have to charge it or something.
No. I have a screen time which I've exceeded because of mindless scrolling that I've done. I just got a notification, so I might just go off in like 5 minutes. So sorry about that.
That's okay. So we'll take whatever we can in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's your take on skipping rice for dinner for weight loss?
So the whole concept of rice makes you fat and all of that is, it's not true. It's just that we can't quantify rice and we can quantify chapati. So when you eat 2, you're like, okay, I've eaten 2 chapatis, but we obviously can't count the number of mosses that are there in the rice, right? So if that kind of helps you mentally to just eat 2 chapatis and then, be happy, then skipping rice would work for you.
Okay, but otherwise on a carb level, it's
the same. It's the same.
Okay, Okay, yeah. And then the next one is, your views on the 50-30-20 ratio. So
50 would be carbs, 30 would be protein, and 20 would be fat. So that's what 50-30-20 means. Then again, it might work for me, it might not work for you. So so it's very individualistic.
And then this is important. What about calcium? What is the best source, and how important is it for us as dancers?
Yeah, so calcium, the best source would be dairy, milk, curd. Ragi is one of your good sources of calcium. Sesame seeds is another good source of calcium. You also get a decent amount of calcium from your vegetables like greens as well. And then the next thing would be soy milk also has a good amount of calcium for someone who doesn't really like milk and stuff like that.
Yeah, and for vegans like me.
Yeah, vegans. Yeah, so, vegans as well.
Okay, yeah. All right. What is a good time to? I'm just rushing because I know you have.
No problem.
You will go off in. So
I mean,
is a good time to have fruits?
So fruits, good time would be as your pre-workout before your dance class or before your rehearsal, and then the next ideal time would be to have it between your meals, so either between breakfast or lunch, or lunch and dinner.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And vitamin D is something, I also wanted to ask you about. Radhika asked what's the best food for vitamin D3. But, vitamin D is something that we're all sort of, I don't think we get enough of it. We're always deficient, whether we're in India or anywhere else. So,
we don't get it. And I'm just going to quickly show you one supplement that everyone needs to use, irrespective of us being deficit or no. It's called D-Rise. So you get this in the pharmacy. Yeah. Okay, so at least check your levels.
I brought a bunch of this here when I came here.
So check your levels after the lockdown, and and if it's low, then you need to do at least if it's less than 10, then you need to do an 8-week course. If it's more than 10, a 6-week course. But otherwise, once a month to maintain your vitamin D. So this is, we can't like stand under the sunlight and stuff like that. So this have to include to strengthen your bones.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Another tip
Okay,
would
and
be to have it with curd or milk, so you also get
mm,
calcium along with the tea, so it's absorbed better.
yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I have it with water, but maybe I'll have it
Yeah,
with
just like a
soy
teaspoon
milk
of
or something.
just a
Yeah.
teaspoon of anything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, Payas is asking, as a male dancer, we go topless, and I'm worried about water retention coming from eating wrong and wrong food. We look more bloated. Wrong food, again bloated. What can we do?
Yeah. So then identify what bloats you, right? So a lot of us eat sprouts and we get gassy. A lot of us drink milk and we might get like this. We might immediately go to the restroom, or we might, immediately feel like a little weird in the stomach, and then you're fine. So start identifying the foods that kind of cause some sort of symptom. I think maintaining a food diary would be really important at this point. So you know what you're eating. So start journaling what you eat. So
And there are
then
some
you can.
apps that help you do that as well.
Yeah.
There's My Fitness Planner and stuff. Yeah. Oh, did her screen time out?
I
No.
came. I said ignore for the day. So yeah, it worked. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can stay longer. So it's okay.
Yeah.
So identify, so start journaling. So now, so for example, you've eaten broccoli today, you faced a symptom. You're probably eating broccoli after 4 days, you're facing the same symptom. So you can easily correlate
You
that,
kind of
okay,
know what it is. Yeah.
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 So another thing about water retention is like maybe like a week or so before your show, just limit the amount of packaged and preserved food that you eat, which has a lot of sodium.
Right. Right.
So water retention also happens because of this excess sodium in the body, which is basically salt, right? So if you go a little easy on the salt and then find out what bloats you, then I think it would be a little easy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying this
Possible.
because I've gone vegan, but a lot of people have told me, and I've heard from a lot of people who, are not vegan, that dairy bloats their stomach as well.
Yeah.
So that could be one thing. I'm
Same
just
here.
saying
Yeah.
that might be
So
something you
yeah,
could
dairy bloats
test.
my stomach as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Any, okay. Okay, one second. How do we identify which nutrition plan to follow? For example, 6 meals, intermittent, low carb. Okay, just scrolling. Yeah.
That's again, it depends on you. Okay. So something that I
Okay.
really want to address is dancing extensively when you're on your periods.
Yeah, someone asked that as well.
Yeah. So
yeah.
so when you obviously will know when you're about to get your periods, right? So say a week before, try and load yourself with a lot more liquids and eat foods that are rich in iron. Even if that needs you to take like an iron tablet, do it. It's okay, because when sometimes, like, due to prior commitment issues, you already said yes for the show, and then you get your periods that morning, you obviously cannot say no, right?
No, yeah.
So when you're in a situation like that, then definitely eat to like, don't I know you're bloated, then if you can't eat, then drink milkshakes, or add like nut butter or something in it to make it a little more calorie dense, and then just drink it if you can't eat it. But then do follow the pre-performance guidelines, or your pre-dance rehearsal guidelines, and
right.
and don't forget to hydrate.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of that she mentioned, I know a lot of you have joined a little later. I understand there was another performance that many of you are wanting to watch. So it's going to be available on my stories, this entire session, for the next 24 hours. So please do tune in and watch. And I just have about 2 minutes before we have to end this, because, as I said, it has to go on stories for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So is there, if there's any question, anyone else has anything else to ask, maybe one last question we can take. Otherwise, you can always DM Sahana. But I want to say thank you so much, Sahana, for doing this for
Thank you so
Sangati.
much. Yeah.
I think it's really going to benefit all the dancers. I know, a lot of people weren't there for the first 30 minutes because there was a performance by a very, very senior guru from 6 to 7.
Oh,
so I know a lot of people joined in at 7 p.m. And for all of you who've missed the first half, it's going to be available on stories, as I said, for 24 hours. And please do spread the word for everyone else who you think this might be useful, because I know it's an immensely useful session for all of us dancers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks so much, Sahana, for being here with
You're
us.
welcome, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Because I know half of my followers are like a bunch of dancers, so because I keep
Dancers,
seeing their
right?
DPs and all of that, yeah.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
I'm very happy to contribute to the Bharatanatyam community anytime, any day.
Yes,
So yeah, and also
absolutely.
like special thanks to my friend Sushmita, who, you know, of course, if not, I wouldn't
Yes,
like know anything
yes,
about dancing or how much energy that the art demands and things like that. So
right,
yeah, so you guys are
right,
doing a great
absolutely.
job. So if
So
you
yes, thanks to
any of
you,
them
and
need
yeah,
any help, just DM me anytime. So no
of
problem.
course. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
Thank you, Divya. See you
we'll all
soon.
write up to you soon. Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.